Welcome back. Well, Indonesia's positive economic performance and growth is predicted to continue in 2022, as this will potentially mean that investments such as gold, mutual funds, and stocks will have plenty of potential next year. Now, in 2022, gold is projected to be a stable investment in both the middle and long term, while investments in stocks also has great potential as the Indonesian economy is recovering well, as this will also help boost the Indonesian stock market. The Indonesian Composite Index, or the IDX, is even projected to be able to grow by 10 to 12% next year, as the IDX could move to a record of 7,400 in 2022, according to some analysts. Now, the Indonesian Composite Index, or the IDX, can reach such heights assuming that the economic growth in Indonesia can reach 5% next year. Indeed, the Indonesian economy has been on a steady path towards recovery. Despite the Delta variant outbreak, Indonesia's economy grew by 3.51% in the third quarter, while in November 2021, Indonesia's total state revenues increased by 19.7% compared to the same period last year. Public consumption in Indonesia has also seen improvements following the easing of public activity restrictions. So to talk more about financial planning and potential investments, especially for millennials in 2022, we'll be discussing more with financial planner Prita Ghozie. Hi, thank you so much for joining us on Jakarta Movers and Shakers.
Hi.
All right, so let's jump right in. Talking about investments and millennials, looking back to 2021, what has been some of the trends in investing among millennials?
Yes, Krishna. We have seen that the millennials and also the Generation Z, who is also entering the workforce currently, so they have income, they have the power to buy. They are interested especially in growth and dividend stocks. And also we can see that they are also investing a lot in cryptocurrency. So there's a study in the US. It discovers that more than 60% of the millennial investor hold stocks. And inside the 60% of the stocks investors also hold cryptocurrency, around 40%. So we can see that the stocks market and also cryptocurrency is having an increased investor in terms of the number of investors. And also the millennials and also the Generation Z are betting on technology stock. They are also likely to hold stocks in the financial, information technology, and also emerging technology sectors. Why they are buying that? They basically buy based on historical stability. Investors ranging from age 18 to 40 rated the historical stability as the most important factor in determining whether to buy a stock or not. Actually, social media buzz and all of the pom-poms were the least relevant factors.
All right, social media buzz is big among millennials, amongst the youth, as you said just now. But you were mentioning how among the millennials, they're interested in stocks, cryptocurrencies, tech stocks in particular. That's assuming that those investments did well in 2021. Do you think millennials should continue to invest in stocks and crypto and tech stocks in 2022?
Yes. Having said that, the millennials still have more than 10 years in investment horizon. I would say that stock market is still very, very relevant for millennials. And the stock market still has a lot of potential to grow, especially when we are hoping that the Indonesian economy will recover. And the interesting part is because of the development of metaverse, and we currently seeing people buying the NFTs. So perhaps crypto assets would be something that is interesting for the next year. We still don't know yet because the metaverse and all of the technological, development is still like quite rapidly growing on. So I wouldn't suggest the millennials to bet everything on crypto assets. So if you are interested, perhaps only some part of your asset, but do not put everything into one specific instrument, investment instruments. So please understand that you can also diversify your investment and also have gold inside your portfolio portfolio. Why? Because gold is always relevant, because gold is also part of the all-weather portfolio.
Right, so you're saying you should always stick to gold as well. Now, are you saying that in 2022, it's still going to be a risky time to invest? Or when in 2022 will be a right time to invest in more riskier assets?
Okay. Yeah, because the uncertainties of the pandemic as well, right? Because the economy is driven by the pandemic as well. So the uncertainties in the what's happening in the world, in Indonesia as well, might also impacted the stock market and so on. So if you're saying that it is still risky, of course. But if you know that in the volatile market, you also have an opportunity, because in a volatile market, you have an opportunity to get a capital gain. So you can do momentum investing if you are very interested in that kind of area. Or if not, you can always do dollar cost averaging, which is to buy regularly every month using the same amount. So you are not concerned on the ups and downs of the market.
Okay, right. So that's regarding investing. Now, I want to talk about financial planning in general. Because as we know, millennials are known for being a young generation that have relatively good income, as you were saying, but they also tend to spend money for unproductive activities, quote unquote, like hanging out, online shopping, and so forth. So in your opinion, next year in 2022, what are some of the financial plan instruments or kind of strategies that millennials need to do in order to manage their income well in 2022?
Of course, having a sound financial plan is very important. So we need to have a financial plan, because if you have a financial plan, then you will lay down all of your financial goals. If you have financial goals, then you will budget. Of course, you will budget. You will budget your income, you will allocate your expenses, and you will put them into priorities. And then the most important part is how to do it. I mean, what is the action part? So in the action part, the interesting for the millennial and also the Gen Z is people is moving towards in-person to online. Millennials right now is partial to digital banking. We are very common to use a mobile banking, and also for the investment part. So we are looking for investment platforms that can help us to invest from nearly everywhere. And also from the platform only from our mobile gadget, mobile phones, smartphones, or pads, something like that. So it will be very interesting if the investing platform also provides some kind of like robo-advisors. So the millennials will be very interested to try new investment as well. And for the investment itself, millennials also will tend to do passive investing. So they will also buy gold and also mutual funds. And active investing is very interesting. So that's why they enter the stock market. And also they're looking for alternative ways to gain more money. So they enter crypto assets.
Okay, now, so previously you were talking about setting goals. That's very important. In 2022, do you think it's more wise to set short-term goals or long-term goals in 2022, especially considering the conditions right now?
We must have three types of goals, Krishna. Yeah. We must have short-term, medium-term, and long-term, because, you know, whatever happens to the world, our life still goes on. So we must have built up emergency funds. So that must be our short-term financial goals. If you already have the emergency funds, then you can move on. And for the medium-term goals, for example, if you do not, you haven't owned a house, you can also try to save up for the down payment. If you have kids, you can prepare for their children education fund. And for your own pension fund, you will always have the option to invest from now. And the good part of, not the good part, but one of the, things that is actually happening because of the pandemic is because we cannot travel. We are restricted to do that. So some people actually can save more. Because we can save more, we can invest more.
Okay, so before you invest, you need to save. So you need to have some kind of cushion. That's what you're trying to say. Okay. Now, let's talk. All right, so let's talk about millennials who are maybe beginners in investment, or maybe those who do not have that much larger funds, don't have much cushion. in sort of their money. So what kind of advice would you give to millennials who are just starting in investing or don't have much money?
Okay, first, do micro investing. Right now, with the online platform, they provide micro investing. What is micro investing? It is like some term of like you buy gold, but in fraction. So you can actually buy golds by only like having 10,000 rupiah. With 10,000 rupiah, you can actually buy gold, you can actually buy mutual funds, and also buy shares. So you can actually invest in fraction amount. So this is the beauty of having the opportunity to invest in the digital world. And for the beginners, I would also suggest to start small, but start now. Never put your assets into one asset. So please diversify. You already understand, right? Do not put your eggs in one basket.
Right.
That also applies to the beginners. So and the last one is being consistent. So you actually set aside at least 10% of your income for saving and also investment. So perhaps that is the three tips for beginners to start invest next year.
All right, so don't put all your eggs in one basket, as you said just now. But talking about next year, previously we were talking about, is it a risk or not? Do you think that investors should be taking a more active approach or a more passive approach, especially next year, because the economy is kind of doing well right now in Indonesia?
Yeah, because it depends on the risk profile itself. So investors have their own risk profile, whether they are risk averse or they are more aggressively to taking risks. Because of that, so people who are risk averse, who are more prone because perhaps they have instability in their income, I would suggest to do passive investing. But for those that have a more aggressive risk profile, you're still young, you can actually have more income, you have more capacity to increase your income, there is always an opportunity with active investing. Because with active investing, you actually can actively manage your portfolio and you can get capital gain from your portfolio. And this capital gain, I would suggest you to reinvest again, but please reinvest in a more risk-free asset. So you can choose something like SBN Retail, the ORI, Obligasi Retail Indonesia, Obligasi Negara Retail Indonesia, or the Sukuk Retail. Actually, if you have a capital gain from your investment, you can always put into those kind of assets, or perhaps the money market fund.
All right, so just kind of sum it all up for 2022. Are you feeling optimistic about the conditions for investing next year, or do some people still kind of hold back? Yeah.
Sure, we must be optimistic.
Okay.
We've seen that the government is taking a very, active approach in try to help lower down the cases, and we've seen that people is more confident to invest. Next year, all of my children will go to school for direct school, so no more online school. So having said that I think we are optimistic about next year.
Okay, optimism next year. We hope for the best for Indonesia and for its investors as well. Prita Ghozie, financial planner, thank you so much for your time and insights on Jakarta Movers and Shakers.
Pleasure.